Hi guys, today we're going to be looking at a new smartphone. It is technically classified as a phablet, that's PH, because it's a cross between a phone and a tablet. I am talking of course about the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. So go ahead and open the box. You've got a seal on this side and then the security seal on this side with the relevant numbers. And right inside there's the phone. One thing I do like about Samsung, and it was the same with the S2, they seem to have taken to heart about not going crazy with the packaging. Numerous phones have had in huge cases with a tiny little phone inside. Samsung tend to be sticking with just what's necessary and nothing more, which is good. So I'll just lift the phone out for the moment and pop that in there. And in here we have a quick start guide, tablet buddy and a warranty card, a charging lead with a USB connector, a 3-pin plug with a funky little adapter. So it's kind of like a travel set that flicks up and then your adapter clips in the bottom, and you've got your 3-pin UK plug, and a set of earphones, a selection of earbuds for the earphones, and there's a little switch on there for volume up and down and probably answering ending calls maybe, I'm not sure, and then in the bottom the battery. So everything you need and nothing you don't. So I'm just going to go ahead, take that out because we will need that of course. Then we'll take a look at the handset itself. Let's just zoom in a little bit here. So here we have the handset, numerous protective plastic bits and bobs all over the place, so we'll just get rid of some of these. So there we have the handset. It's form factor wise, it's very similar to the S2, S3, a little more rounded than the S2, probably more similar to the S3. Okay, so there's a side-by-side comparison just to give you an idea of the physical size. It's hard to tell with hands because some people have large hands, some people have small. Mine are relatively small, I am led to believe. But there's the S2, which is your typical kind of iPhone sort of size, I would say. And there's the Note 2 by the side of it, considerably larger, but more importantly a much larger screen, which of course is the main reason that you would get one of these. So down here of course you've got the S Pen, which apparently is redesigned from the Galaxy Note. I'm not familiar with the one on the Note, but this one you've got a softer sort of nib, and you've got a little button for specialised features up there, and that slots into its own little housing as per any PDA that you might have ever had. The back removes in exactly the same way as the S2 did. When I first got the S2, I have to say I was really quite unsure about how sturdy that back was, and worried that once you'd removed it a few times it might get a little bit flimsy and break. But in the year and a half that I've owned mine, I've had the back on and off a few times, and it's been really good, and it's been really sturdy, certainly much sturdier than the Nokias I had previously. So inside you've got the slot for the huge battery that we saw a moment ago, and you've got a slot for your SIM card. This uses a micro SIM card. Again, you've got more little sort of stickers on there to peel away. This uses a micro SIM card, and you insert it like a micro SD card. Your micro SD card of course goes up here. Now the good thing I like about this compared to the S2 is if you need to remove the micro SD card, you can pop the back off and slot the SD card out without having to take out the battery, which is something that you had to do on the S2, which is a real nuisance if all you want to do is unmount the card to say put it in a card reader and read some data or write some data and then put it back in the phone. You had to switch it off, take the battery out, etc, etc. But that's the phone unboxed and the accessories that you get with it. And what I'm going to do now is put this on charge, and then we'll get it switched on and see what it does. So you've seen the first part of the video, and what I was going to do was just switch on the Note 2 and have a play about with it and see what it can do, but I thought rather than do that, it'd be more practical to use it for 2 or 3 weeks and get a feel for the phone and its abilities and what have you, and that would give me a better basis for comparison. So the first thing I'm going to do is use the stopwatch on this to time the boot time on this, and then I'm going to do it the other way around. So I'm going to press the start button as I press the power button, so here goes. And then we're going to see how long that takes to fully boot up to a usable state. Okay, so we're on to the lock screen in just under 30 seconds. However, using the Task Manager widget, this shows when it shows the number of active applications, this shows when the device is fully booted and usable. As you can see, there's nothing there at present. If you press it, nothing happens. So there we go. So we'll stop that right there. So we're looking at about 58 seconds, just for the sake of argument there. And what I'm going to do now is exactly the same thing on this one, but booting up the Note 2 instead. So let's close out of there, switch this one off completely. Okay, so that one's switched off. So same scenario, I'm going to press the power button as I press the start button. So here goes. Oops, let's just do that again. Here goes. So there we go, and as you can see by the Task Manager, that's already active. I've stopped that at 32 seconds, but that was already running prior to that. I'd say maybe 30 seconds. Now this is the kind of thing that most people would consider, well, some people would consider not hugely important, but you know, the quicker you start it up, the quicker you can get playing with all the cool features on there. So yeah, you know, importance is really down to the user on that one. Some people would consider it important and others not so. Obviously, again, you can see the physical size difference. Thickness wise, they're pretty much of a muchness. You can tell, you run your finger across the pair of them there. And operating system wise, well, you know, Android is Android. Yes, this is running the latest Jelly Bean, I believe it is. I'm honestly not that up with the names, but the operating system, the way it looks is all very much of a muchness. The most noticeable difference I've found is the battery life. On the S2, I would typically switch it on, well, rather unplug it rather from its charger at about 7:38 in the morning, and if I used it quite heavily, I would need to plug it in for a boost at lunchtime, just to make sure I got enough battery, because it could have easily have dropped to about 40%. But just with general use, I would be looking at charging the S2 by about 6 PM after getting home. To date, with the Note 2, now obviously it's a much bigger battery, but that said, it's a much faster processor and a much bigger screen to boot, so clearly that's going to take a big old chunk of power to run. To date, I have managed to flatten this once only. That was specifically last night, and I had the Wi-Fi running, the packet data running, the Bluetooth running, paired up to my Bluetooth headset, several hours of listening to an audiobook, and then some streaming video. It was unplugged at about 8 AM and it went completely flat at just after 1 AM this morning. So I'd consider that pretty impressive by any standards, given that it had a fair old bit of use, internet browsing and streaming video and such like yesterday. So a massive improvement on the S2. The operating system, as I say, is much of a muchness. There's a few little refinements. You've got nifty little features like this assistive light widget, which switches on the LED on the back, so you've got a little handy, quick and easy to use torch, and you've got a little music player widget which I quite like. For example, if I've got my playlist loaded up, then I can just sort of sit that down, swipe to the widget, press play without having to go into the music menu, but that's just as easy as pressing a button and then picking your playlist or your album. The actual music player is again much the same as you would find on earlier versions of Android, but you've got this nifty little widget as well, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. As I say, it's just much smoother and much faster. The S2 actually felt quite big when I first got it. However, after 2 or 3 weeks of use of the Note 2, it doesn't feel normal sized, but it feels manageable. It doesn't actually feel as huge and awkward and clunky and clumsy as it did when I first got it. The only real difference I've noticed is occasionally if you're trying to do one finger typing and such like, it can be a little bit of a stretch with your thumb right over to the left hand side of the screen. One of the things the bigger phone does mean is a bigger screen, and it's a fantastic screen. Now, as you can see here, we're in the video player app, and this is a feature that I really like about it. All of the videos stored on your phone, it will give you a little sort of 5 or 10 second preview of each of the video clips that you have there, so you can see what you have instead of just a still picture, which I think is quite a nifty little thing. And I'm just going to play you some of this Wonders of Nature, which is your pre-loaded one. And what I'll do is I will skip back to the very start of this. Now, to be honest, you're not going to get the full effect of this because I'm filming this on a camcorder which I've got to capture, then compress for YouTube, which YouTube will then compress further. So you're not going to get the full glory of this, but believe me when I say it is absolutely stunning. It's crystal clear and sharp as a tack. It's incredible. So for video it's brilliant, and even to the point of watching streaming movies on there. If you've got something like the Avantalk Bluetooth headset as well to connect with it, you can sit and watch a movie if nobody else wants to watch that particular movie without disturbing anyone, which is a bonus. There's only really one other thing that I need to talk about with this phone, and obviously I can't do any kind of review on the Note 2 without mentioning this, and that is of course the stylus, or the S Pen as Samsung have named it. Now you pull out the S Pen, it will automatically pop up this little notepad, the S Note, so you can doodle, you can write anything you like there. You can save the note, you can give it a name, you can do all that kind of thing. You can write yourself reminders, you can click that to enlarge it to full screen, you can doodle if you're bored. You know, you can do pretty much anything you like. It's quite a nifty little app, and it's great for noting down quick notes. Say you want to scribble down a telephone number or a meeting place or a name or anything like that, just whip the pen out, write it, and away you go. If you close that, you get this little list here which has got templates on. So for example, if you're on holiday and you're doing a bit of a diary blog about your holiday, you've got a diary template, you've got a recipe template, idea notes, magazine. You can even do yourself a little magazine layout and print it out. It's really quite fantastic. And you dock the S Pen like so, and it just pops back to the main screen. Now even if the screen is locked, so you're on lock screen and the screen is off, pull out the S Pen and there's your note. And you can again write anything you like there. If you click on the tick, it will automatically save it, slot in the S Pen, and you know, away it goes and it closes back. Now you can actually configure this to open any one of a number of apps when you pull this pen out. And one of the other things I do like about this, with it being such a fine tip stylus, is you can open something like this colour splash image editing, for example. Let's open up a picture from the gallery. Let's just find something on here that's nice and colourful. Okay, we've got a funny picture just here, And what you can do is, you'll notice this is in black and white, because this is a colour splash effect. So you colour in, and this restores colour to just the areas that you colour into. And then of course you can edit and fine tune and all the rest of it. And this is something you normally do with your fingers. You can use this on any touchscreen smartphone, and you usually sort of colour it in with your fingers like so. The difference is this gives you much better fine control, and you can get specifically right up to the edges of lines using the fine tip stylus. So that's really quite nifty. And very useful for anybody who's into image editing and the like. So that's pretty much the phone in a nutshell. It's got the standard small. It's got the standard charging port, same as the S2, the S3 and the other series of Samsung phones. So if you've got travel chargers and the like, they'll work on this phone as well. You've got a 3.5mm jack at the top, the same buttons on the side, the power button on that side, the volume button on that side. Everything else works the same. The camera's got a little bit more functionality, and it's far faster. I'll actually just do you a quick demonstration of that. Anybody that's used to the S2 and used to the speed at which it operates, this is just mind-blowing. As you can hear there, I mean, it's just clicking away and capturing like crazy, with barely any of the lag that you get on the other phone. And the front-facing camera as well, if I can demonstrate that, is quickly switched and is a far better quality, as you can possibly see there, than the front-facing camera on the S2 ever was, and on any other phone that I've had. If you like the S2, but you want something just that little bit better with a bit more functionality, then this is a brilliant phone to upgrade to. It takes no time at all. Within a week this started feeling normal to me, the physical size of it. First time you use it as a telephone, you put it up to your head and you feel like you're holding a brick. It's a little bit weird, but within a week I was really quite used to the size. It's very usable, it's quick, the functionality is great, the processing speed is phenomenal, the battery life is excellent, and frankly I can't find a single thing to fault on this. The only reason I would replace this is if a newer and better version of this came about. I'll keep the S2 in the meanwhile as a handy spare, because it was quite a good phone in its own right, and is quite a good phone in its own right, and it will come in handy as a useful spare. But overall, I'm absolutely delighted with the Note 2, and if you're thinking of upgrading, a logical assumption you'd be upgrading from something like the S2, then the Note 2 is an excellent choice. If you prefer the smaller form factor and you can live without the S Pen, then the S3 I imagine would be somewhere on a sort of a similar par for operational speed, but again you're not really gaining much over the S2 personally, I don't think. So there you go, I hope you found that useful, and thank you for watching.